Hey guys, Josh with Live the Creed. Welcome to another episode of Know Your Kit. Today we're going to be covering wound packing. We get a lot of questions about how and when to pack a wound and what products you should be using. At LTC, we provide a couple of different options in our kits that are appropriate for this intervention. The first are products by Quikclot. These are compressed gauzes that are infused with a hemostatic agent. A hemostatic agent is simply something that assists in your body creating a clot more rapidly. The second is a simple compressed gauze. The same concept as this, minus the clotting agent. The concept behind packing a wound is to take a gauze and insert it into the wound, putting pressure on the compromised vein or artery, allowing the bleeding to slow or stop, and then for your body to create a clot. There's a couple of things you want to make sure not to do when packing a wound, namely packing wounds that are in the chest or in the abdomen. The reason behind this is these are hollow cavities, and you're never going to be able to fill a wound channel completely putting pressure. The other reason is that it's very likely that you can introduce unnecessary infection into those areas, which will cause problems for that patient down the road. The first step in packing a wound is finding the primary source of the bleed. You're going to do this by inserting your finger into the wound and putting pressure on the compromised vein or the artery. Once you put pressure on, you want to maintain that pressure. That's what is going to slow the bleeding enough for us to be able to get the gauze inserted. Next, you want to take the gauze and create a little ball on the end of it and insert it down. And now we're going to use a technique that just rotates fingers, always maintaining pressure on that bleed. So this is a Z-fold gauze. Every time we grab and pinch, we're going to put pressure and maintain pressure. We're just going to keep doing that until the wound is completely full. Always making sure to maintain pressure. Keep in mind, this intervention is going to be extremely painful for the patient, but in the presence of a life-threatening bleed, this can be necessary, especially to junctional injury. Once you have the wound completely filled with gauze, you want to make sure to maintain direct pressure on that wound for as many minutes as you can. If you notice that there is blood either seeping out of the wound or completely soaking through the gauze, you don't want to remove the gauze and start over. That will remove any clot formation that has already begun. You want to take a second gauze, open it up, and then continue to pack the wound. After allowing the maximum time possible, at minimum 3 to 4 minutes, you can remove direct pressure. Make sure before moving the patient, you reassess the wound. If you see any blood soaking the gauze or seeping out, you want to reapply direct pressure and continue to pack. Once we remove the direct pressure and we don't see any active bleeding, we can go ahead and wrap that wound. We would use something like an Israeli bandage or a pressure dressing to put enough pressure to hold that packing in place and then either wait for first responders to arrive or transport that patient to where they can be intercepted. I'd like to address a couple frequently asked questions regarding wound packing. The first question is can I move the patient after packing a wound? The answer is, ideally, if you can avoid moving the patient, that's the best case scenario. Call 911, wait for first responders, and let them handle moving the patient. If you're in a scenario where you don't have access to 911 or first responders, you can move the patient. The main thing you want to do is immobilize the affected extremity. Too much movement can cause the clot to break or move. That can lead to bleeding. The second question is, how many gauze rolls can I use? The answer is as many as you need. You want to pack the wound completely until bleeding has stopped. The last question is there anything I can do to alleviate the pain? The answer is probably not. This is an extremely painful intervention when the patient is conscious, but a little bit of pain now to live is well worth it. All right, guys, that's it for me today. I hope you got something out of this tutorial. If you have any questions about any of our other products, feel free to drop us a line. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.